All right, let's jump 2 years into the future, shall we? By 2026, artificial intelligence is going to have evolved in ways that, frankly, might seem like pure science fiction today. So let's unpack the key trends that experts predict will be shaping our world.
So the big question, right? The one on everyone's mind is, what will AI actually look and feel like in just a couple of years? The pace of change is absolutely incredible, so let's try to get a clear picture based on where things are headed right now.
Well, to answer that, we're going to break down eight significant predictions. These are the core trends that are really going to define the AI landscape and impact, well, everything from our jobs to our physical environment. And to make it all make sense, we've bundled these 8 trends into 4 big themes. We'll kick things off with how AI is changing the workforce. Then we'll jump into how it's literally entering our physical world. After that, we'll get into the new rules and power sources for AI. And finally, we'll explore the new AI brain itself. Okay, first up, AI's evolving workforce. And the big shift here, and this is really key, is that AI is moving beyond just being a tool that we use to becoming an active and even autonomous collaborator. So, the first trend is what's called multi-agent orchestration. Now think about it like this. Just last year, it was all about having one single brilliant generalist AI. But just like with people, nobody can be an expert at everything. The future is all about creating a specialized AI team, a coder, a researcher, a project manager, all working together on a single problem.
And what's really fascinating is how these AI teams are structured. You see, you've got a planner agent whose whole job is to break down the goal. Then you have worker agents to do the specific tasks. And get this, there's even a critic agent for quality control. This built-in system of checks and balances, it's a huge leap forward for making AI reliable.
And this naturally leads us right into trend number 2, the digital labor workforce. See, when you start combining these smart agent teams, you don't just have a tool anymore. You have, well, an autonomous digital worker. It can understand a really complex request, execute an entire workflow, and create what's being called a force multiplying effect. Just imagine one human manager overseeing a team of digital agents that can knock out all the data analysis for a quarterly report in like minutes. But wait, this doesn't mean humans are out of the job. Not at all. The key here is something called human-in-the-loop AI. Humans are providing that crucial oversight. They're making corrections, and they're giving the high-level strategic guidance. We become the conductors of this new digital orchestra. All right, buckle up for part 2. This is where we talk about how AI is literally breaking out of our screens and servers and stepping into our physical world. This is where it gets real. And that brings us to trend number 3, physical AI. Now, up until now, robotics has been, well, kind of clunky. You had to have a human code every single possible rule for every single situation. Physical AI, it just flips that whole idea on its head. Instead of being programmed, these AIs actually learn how the world works by training in these incredibly detailed simulations. So how does it do that? Well, the engine behind all this is something called a world foundation model. These are these incredible generative models that actually understand physics, gravity, how objects interact. The prediction is that by 2026, these models are going to take things like humanoid robots out of the lab and into commercial production. Physical AI is about to scale up big time. Okay, so if you've got humans and these new physical AIs sharing the same space, how in the world do they work together? Well, that's our 4th trend, social computing. Just imagine a factory floor. A human worker just points and says, hey, we need to reroute this. And instantly, every robot, every sensor, every bit of logistics AI understands the new plan. That shared understanding, that seamless flow of info, that's the heart of this collective intelligence.
Okay, so with all this incredible new capability, we're going to need some new rules. And new kinds of power, for that matter. That's what part 3 is all about. We're talking trust, governance, and the engines that are going to run this whole new world.
Trend number 5 is verifiable AI. And honestly, the best way to wrap your head around this is with the quote you see right here. Think of this a little bit like GDPR, but for artificial intelligence. It's really all about making these AI systems accountable and traceable, especially the high-risk ones. And this isn't just theory. By mid-2026, the EU AI Act is expected to be in full swing, and it'll probably set the standard for the whole world. Its core demands are really about accountability. Companies are going to have to document everything, they'll have to make it crystal clear when you're talking to an AI, and they'll have to be transparent about the data they use to train these systems. All this new AI muscle also needs a new kind of horsepower. And that brings us to our 6th trend, quantum utility.
Now, don't worry, this isn't about quantum computers replacing your laptop. It's about hitting a tipping point where they can reliably team up with our classical computers to solve problems that have just been impossible until now, doing it better, faster, and way more efficiently.
And you can see the real-world value right here. I mean, for unbelievably complex problems, like optimizing a global supply chain or simulating new life-saving drugs, this hybrid quantum approach gives us a massive, massive leg up. By 2026, we're going to start seeing this transform whole industries.
All right, for our final section, we're going deep inside the machine. We're going to look at fundamental changes in how AI actually thinks, and, just as important, where that thinking happens. Welcome to the new AI brain.
So, trend number 7 is something called reasoning at the edge. Look, we're all used to AI living way out there in some giant data center, right? But what's happening now is that developers have figured out how to distill, to shrink down the powerful reasoning of those massive models into tiny versions that can run right on your phone or your laptop.
And for you, the user, the benefits are just enormous. You get powerful AI that works even when you're offline, your data stays private right there on your device, and there's zero network lag. For anything that needs to be instant and reliable, this is a total game changer.
Okay, our 8th and final trend. This one gets a little technical, but stick with me because it's the engine that makes everything else possible. It's called Amorphous hybrid computing. The best way to think about it is like a master chef's kitchen. You don't have just one oven, right? You have a grill, a deep fryer, a sous vide machine. Well, this new kind of cloud is smart enough to automatically send each part of an AI task to the perfect appliance, the perfect chip for that specific job.
And this is all possible because the cloud isn't just one type of computer anymore. It's this unified system of all sorts of specialized chips. You've got your standard CPUs and GPUs, TPUs, even those QPUs for quantum tasks, and these wild new neuromorphic chips that are designed to mimic the human brain. The end result? Just maximum performance and efficiency, all happening automatically behind the scenes.
So let's do a super quick recap. There you have it, 8 trends that are really going to define AI in 2026. We talked about AI becoming a new kind of workforce with teams of agents, and how it's stepping into our physical world as robots. We looked at the new rules of the road with verifiable AI and new power sources like quantum. And finally, we saw how the AI brain itself is changing, running everywhere from your phone to this crazy new hybrid cloud. These are the forces shaping our very, very near future.
But here's the thing. These are just predictions. And that leaves us with one last, really important question to chew on. What AI trend do you think we're missing? What else is going to be a huge deal by 2026?